What is up, you guys? I'm back today with another video. In this video, I'm not gonna beat around the bush. We're gonna jump right in. Today's video is how I DIY lime wash painted my bedroom, hello. Today's video is showing how I lime wash painted my walls in my apartment. I was on Pinterest scrolling for some apartment inspo and I started seeing pictures like this showing, you know, a nice textured wall. I started doing some digging, doing a little bit of research, and decided that lime wash was the type of paint that I wanted to do in my entire apartment. So I'm gonna show you the step-by-step process, what I did, what colors I chose, what brand I used, how long it took. I'm gonna tell you everything that I can think of to tell you about this, because in my research, I didn't stumble upon a few things that I found out doing it myself that would have been nice to know previous. So let's just jump right in. I just moved a few weeks ago. If you've been watching my videos as of recent, you'll know that. I've talked about that a little bit, but I did just move. It's now almost August. I moved mid-June, so it's been like over a month. I'm literally obsessed. I'm so happy to get out of that other apartment. There were so many issues with it. Anyway, now, as you can see behind me, I have, you know, quite a bit of furniture now. Painting is done, obviously. Just a few things left, you know, art and curtains and those sort of things. And I can't wait to show you guys like the finished product of my apartment, how it all turns out. But the first step upon moving in was painting. And like I said, I had done some research, knew that I wanted lime wash, but I should have done some more research. Initially, like I said, I just went on Pinterest and was like, this is what I want. Didn't actually look into it first to see if it was feasible. And I'm a person, once my mind is made up, especially with like design stuff, there's no changing it. Like when I saw that I wanted lime wash and I decided that, there was no stopping me. So once I started to realize some things about it. First of all, let's start. I'll show you the process of me painting, and then afterward, I'll give you some things that I've learned that would have been helpful to know beforehand. So let's just jump right into it. Part of the appeal of my new apartment is a lot of people like run around here, like exercise, like walk and run, walk their dogs, walk their children, whatever. A lot of shirtless men go by. Hi, boys. Hi. And I surely stare right at them as they go by. It feels a little creepy, but I'm like, I'm just up here looking out of my window. You're the one who's running shirtless. If you don't want me to look at your shirtless body, then you should wear a shirt. Anyway, I love how I was like, I'm not gonna beat around the bush with this one. We're gonna jump right in. No, we're not. So, in my apartment, it's not huge. It's a living room and a bedroom. So there's only 2 rooms. So I'm gonna first start by showing you my living room and how I painted that, and then we'll move on to my bedroom. So this was my living area when I moved in. The walls were like a cream color-ish. Not a fan, personally. Like I said, these were kind of the inspo photos that I found on Pinterest. I wanted to go for like a light gray color for my living room, but I didn't want it to be like millennial gray, you know, where you paint everything. I wanted it to be like the texture. I wanted it to look like concrete was the idea. So this was the brand of lime paint that I used. It's Vasari. I don't know. Got it on Amazon. The color I chose was cement gray because, like I said, wanted the walls to look like cement. Everything I'm about to say, you don't have to do any of this, obviously, but this is how you get it to look like lime wash. The paint comes really, really thick. So you just add a little bit of water, stir it, and that's how you get the lime wash effect. You have to use one of these thick ass brushes. It's like a deck brush, I think. It's so thick. And that's when I got started. So you have to do this little like crisscross pattern motion. You can see me doing it. It's just like an X on the wall, and you just repeat that over and over and over and over again. And if you're like me and didn't realize this, that takes a really long time versus a normal can of paint. You just use a roller and it takes you 2 seconds to do the whole wall. You will have to hand paint the entire thing, and it requires multiple coats. So you will be hand painting multiple coats. So keep that in mind. Also, something to keep in mind, once you start, you cannot stop. Because if you stop in the middle of a section and let it dry and then come back and try to do it again, like you'll be able to see the line and the difference between the two. So once you start a wall, you have to finish it, or you'll be able to see the lines. So just keep that in mind too. I used a gallon in my living room and I had everything but this little section right here. So I finished all of it, but that tiny little section, which infuriated me, as I mentioned. If you leave it off like that and pick up the next day, you know, when you have new paint, you can see it. You can literally tell. The good thing is I did a layer on top of it, so it like blurred it a bit, but especially after the first coat, you could 1000% see this specific section that I had to go back and do later. So that's how I learned that. My living kitchen area is pretty big, but 1 gallon pretty much covered the whole thing. And a gallon covered my entire bedroom, which I'll get into that. 1 coat. So I did 2 gallons per each thing because I did 2 coats of each. So all these things are good to keep in mind. This is what it looks like after the first coat, and when it's drying, it looks crazy. And the thing is too, even when the first coat fully dries, it looks crazy. So like, this is very much trust the process. Like, don't think that this is the final result until you've done all the coats and it's dried for like multiple days. That is your finished product. Don't look at this and be like, oh my God, this looks horrendous. It's gonna dry completely different. So that was the living room after the first coat. And so now let's move on to my bedroom. So this was the before of my bedroom. I have like the bed space, and then I have this like little office nook thing too, which is actually pretty cool, but these were my design pictures. Now, I was going for like this dark green type of a color. That was kind of my inspiration. The thing with lime paint is they don't have a lot of color options. So I saw green and was like, okay, this is perfect. It's a lot lighter than what I expected. We'll get into my thoughts about it later, but I went with obviously the same brand, but in the color olive, which should have been telling to me because the color is olive and not a deep like forest green. But anyway, lesson learned. Again, comes out really thick. You just apply water and stir it and thin it out. And here's me going in with the first coat. This room was a lot easier. There were more doorways and it's smaller, so it's just not a fun process to paint. Just to be quite honest, like it's horrible. It's literally horrible. But this was it after the first coat on the one wall. So moving on. That was the first coat of the bedroom. I didn't take a ton of clips of that, but so this is the living room after the first coat was fully dry. This is the bedroom after the first coat. Again, it gives you a good idea, but that's not what it looks like once it's fully dried and you've done multiple coats. This was the after of the second coat in the living room. Now it's starting to come together a little bit more, obviously still drying in these, but yeah, here is the bedroom after the second coat. That was it. I did the 2 coats, and obviously the most satisfying part is the peeling of the tape. Let's take a moment for this one. Just so satisfying. I will say this paint is it's a very interesting texture. It's obviously not normal paint, it's lime paint. So when it dries and you peel the tape off, it makes a complete mess. It gets everywhere. So keep that in mind. You will have to do quite a bit of cleanup. And just as a reminder, this was the living room before, and here's the after. This is how it turned out. I'm so happy with how it turned out. I'm obsessed with the texture that it adds. It looks like concrete. I posted about this on TikTok and stuff, and people have said it looks kind of like suede. Like, it's just a really cool texture, and that's what I wanted. Just so happy with my living room. Now, on to my bedroom. Here's the after. It's growing on me. I'm gonna be honest, like, I think initially my problem with this color is it wasn't my inspo color. It's olive green, which I should have noticed that before purchasing it, that it wasn't forest green and the name was olive, but I feel like it's growing on me. And I put a lot of effort into this, and like, it was one of those, once I started, I was like, oh, this isn't the green I thought it was, but I had already bought the paint and started, and so I was like, let me just finish it and we'll see. That's the tea with that. Now let's move on to what I learned. So let's first start off with the cost. Now, looking back makes sense, but before I didn't even consider that lime paint is a special type of paint, so it is way more expensive than normal paint. I would say double. Expect to spend literally double that you would versus like a normal paint from Home Depot. I have seen online there's like different tricks people do with like trying to use real normal paint to like replicate lime paint, and you use like 2 different colors and it mixes, and I don't know. When I was doing my research, I was like, this looks really hard. I think it has a possibility to turn out like garbage, so I'm gonna just get the actual paint. But a gallon of this paint is like $75, which is a lot when you need 4 gallons. You can do the math, versus like if I went to Home Depot to get a gallon of just normal paint, I feel like it would be like 30 bucks, 40 bucks. So just keep that in mind, more expensive. You also have to buy the brush. Something else to keep in mind is it's a lot more work than normal paint because you have to do the special technique. You can't use a roller. So keep that in mind too. It's going to take you a long time. And I've also painted rooms in the past where 1 coat, perfect, you're done. That is not the case. It will not look right. apply, you have to do multiple coats, and sometimes they even recommend like 3, 4. I'm not doing all that. If it was an accent wall, maybe, but my entire apartment, I'm not hand painting 4 times. So keep that in mind. It's a lot more work. You can't use a roller. You have to hand paint everything. And also, like, I can insert a video, but like if you touch the wall and like get it wet, it like wets the paint and you can like wipe it off, which is actually a positive because you mix it with water to thin it out. To get it out of like your clothes, off your hands, it is so easy. I've dropped some on my white carpet, literally just wipes right up. I've had other paint that I've used before where you have to scrub your hands to get it off. With this, just water, rub it, and it's off. And it's the same if you get it like on the ceiling a little bit, I literally would just wipe it with a wet cloth and it would come right off. So that's a positive. It really easily comes out of things. But yeah, it does have like an interesting texture when you feel it. It doesn't feel like glossy, you know, for example, like a normal paint. It's lime paint. It looks textured and it also is textured. So like, I don't even know how to explain it, but it feels very like dry and like, I don't know how to explain it. It's just like an interesting texture. It has crossed my mind, like, you know, this is an apartment. I will have to move out and repaint it before I leave. So I'm like curious to how, you know, if you have to get a special primer to go over this or, you know, again, I don't really know. I didn't do that much research on it. I guess I'll figure out in a couple years when I move, but I feel like those are the big takeaways that I didn't expect, especially the cost. When I first started doing some digging about the different types that I wanted to do, I was like flabbergasted that these were like $70, $80 for a gallon. Literally speechless, but I'm really happy with how they turned out. I think it looks really cool. I love the texture that it adds. There's another shirtless man. He's like literally like Calvin Klein models are running by. Like where am I? Where am I? So that was the process of me painting. I can't say that I would do this again, just to be quite honest. I know hiring someone to do this would have been like at least $5,000, like minimum $5,000 to do what I did. So me paying like $200 for paint and supplies and just sticking it through and getting it done myself saved me literally thousands of dollars. But I don't know. I feel like painting is one of those things you do it and you're like, I'm never doing it again. And then like years pass and you kind of forget and you move and then you do it again. You're like, I'm never doing this again. So who knows? But I am really happy with how it turned out and I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I also will continue to keep you updated and posted about what I do fully and the complete renovation and once it's fully done. And I do get my curtains tomorrow, which I'm so excited about. Curtains just make a room feel like a home, and I stand by that. Every time I hang curtains for the first time, I'm like, this is my house now. I can finally settle in. I have curtains. I don't know why it does that, but we're kind of on the home stretch now that the painting's done and I have most of my big furniture. I'll keep you guys updated and I'll do a full tour once it's done. Make sure, as always, to subscribe. I'm also on literally every other social media, just my full government name. You can find me. I feel like that's it. Let me know your thoughts on this. Let me know if you've lime washed anything before, how it turned out. But I will see you guys in my next video. Love you, bye.